The network taking you live to the polls for Election Day 2022. A handful of big races.
This election isn't a referendum, it's a choice. It's a choice between two fundamentally different visions of America.
Determining the balance of power in Washington. And subtropical storm Nicole set to make a late-season strike in Florida.
You could see 3 to 5 storm-foot surge all the way from southeast areas of Georgia down toward West Palm.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
I'm Leanne Abutorbush. Today is Tuesday, November 8th, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Winds and winds this Tuesday morning, with Florida's attention split between Election Day and subtropical storm Nicole. We begin with Nicole, which is forecasted to make landfall in Florida as a hurricane.
November hurricanes are rare, and the further north this one hits, the more damaging the storm surge will be.
Florida bracing for what could be a rare November hurricane.
The last one was almost 40 years ago, and not just for Florida, this is for all of the U.S.
Subtropical storm Nicole turning towards the Sunshine State, heading straight towards the East Coast. It could strengthen to a hurricane by late Wednesday. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency for at least 34 counties, releasing a statement warning Floridians to prepare for an increased risk of coastal flooding, heavy winds, rain, rip currents, and beach erosion. The National Hurricane Center already issuing a storm surge watch for Florida's East Coast up to Georgia.
We could see 3 to 5 storm-foot surge all the way from southeast areas of Georgia down toward West Palm.
The latest system coming less than 2 months after Hurricane Ian slammed Florida's west coast. Making landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. The powerful storm killing at least 130 people in the state and leaving parts of western and central Florida unrecognizable. Homes flattened, infrastructures crumbled, businesses destroyed. The cleanup could take years, and now Florida is bracing once again for what could be another hurricane.
Tomorrow is expected to bring strong winds and rain, with the storm expected to make landfall tomorrow night. Some worry voter turnout will be impacted as today Floridians prepare for the storm.
This morning, Florida power crews are preparing for the worst. Forecasters subtropical storm Nicole is strengthening in the Atlantic and could hit Florida's east coast as a Category 1 hurricane later this week. Ahead of the storm, around 1,200 workers are navigating across Florida counties and cutting loose limbs on trees. Officials say tree limbs are the biggest causes of power outages during storms.
Only a couple months ago that we had Hurricane Ian come through, it damaged a lot of trees. Not all the trees came down, but some of the trees are loose, some of the trees' limbs are loose. We're going around right now and making preparations to those limbs that are vulnerable.
If Nicole does become a hurricane, it would be the first to hit the United States in November since 1985.
To the morning's other big story, Election Day. Polls in South Florida have been open for a couple hours now, and the network is covering both counties this morning. We begin in Miami-Dade in the Kendall neighborhood, where Amanda Gray is live.
Well, good morning and happy Election Day. I am here in Miami-Dade County where, if you look behind me, there's actually a line forming. Voters have gathered here today to make their voices heard. Something of note is that the demographic of voters here is kind of all over the map. People are just coming out to make their voices heard, and a lot is on the ballot here today, but also there's a lot at stake for the state of Florida in the sense that people are wondering, is Florida going to remain a swing state after this election? And only time will tell. There's also campaigners out here trying to make sure their candidates get elected. So we're going to go ahead and keep an eye out for you today, but so far so good on this Election Day. Reporting live from Kendall, I'm Amanda Gray, South Florida Media Network.
From Miami-Dade, we take you to Broward. The network's Elena Key was at polling location in Hollandale Beach as they opened this morning and filed this report.
It is election day, and here in Hallandale Beach, voters have lines around the building making sure they get their vote in for this midterm election. Doors opened at 7 a.m., but the line has been here since around 6:45, and doors will be open till 7 p.m.
Horrible, because they changed my precinct without notification, and now I got to run 40 minutes out west to vote. This is autocracy at its best, and that's what we're voting against. I hope we win.
It's very important because we can elect the people for the government, for everything. So it's my second time today in vote in Hallandale Beach in Florida.
It's the greatest gift we get living in America. We can affect change during the voting process. I waited for today on purpose because today is election day, and let's make America great again.
Make sure you get your vote in. Elena Key for South Florida Media Network. Key national races are attracting major political attention. As Michelle Morris from the D.C. Bureau reports, this includes Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania.
There are many crucial state-level and governor races that will determine the congressional control, as well as at the table for the upcoming 2024 presidential campaigns.
Some of the major issues driving this election are inflation, abortion rights, and what some candidates say are threats to democracy. Over the weekend, President Biden and former President Obama visited Pennsylvania, one of the states that could determine which party controls the Senate.
This election isn't a referendum, it's a choice. It's a choice between two fundamentally different visions of America.
Democracy itself is on the ballot. The stakes are high.
And former President Donald Trump also rallied.
This election is your chance to make your voice heard.
Millions of voters casted their ballots in the final home stretch toward the midterm elections. 35 of the 100 Senate seats are on the ballot. And in the House, all 435 seats are on the ballot. Democrats are battling to maintain control of the Senate. President Biden emphasized the steps forward he and his administration have made since stepping into office.
Folks, our economy continues to grow and add jobs, even as gas prices continue to come down. But we got a lot more to do.
While Republicans remind voters we are seeing the highest inflation in years.
The issue with Biden is that the problems that we are suffering under, inflation, energy, open border, are problems that he created through his policies. And now we have the worst inflation in 40 years.
Some races are so close and many are mail-in ballots that the results may not be in on election night. In Washington, D.C., reporting for South Florida Media Network, Michelle Morris.
Former President Donald Trump creating some excitement for his followers with his latest statement. Trump was not at a rally in Vandalia, Ohio to endorse J.D. Vance, who is running for the U.S. Senate. During this rally is when Trump decided to spark some interest.
I'm going to be making a very big announcement on Tuesday, November 15th at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
Many speculate that he will announce his campaign to run for president of the United States in the next presidential election from his home in Mar-a-Lago.
Many speculate that he will announce his campaign to run for president of the United States in the next presidential election from his home, Mar-a-Lago. Morning Powerball players were told to hold on to their tickets as the drawing has been delayed. The Lottery Commission said that last night the delay was due to one of the participating lottery states. The sale and play data are still being processed. Powerball will post the winning number and the video of the 1.9 billion drawing to its website and YouTube channel.
NBA players are warming up to an important message ahead of Election Day.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Cal, Santa Barbara. 1 point Heat lead. Here's Gabe again. Boom again.
The Miami Heat build a halftime lead and then try to hold on. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
You really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lead slipping away for the Heat as Miami finds itself on the wrong side of the fourth quarter comeback. A fiery rematch between Miami Heat and the Portland Trail Blazers starts to burn up at the FTX Arena.
Although the last time these two red-hot teams played, the Heat were able to walk away the victors by a sizable margin. The Blazers played a close match here in Miami, and unfortunately for the Heat, they did not walk away the victors this time. The final score was Trail Blazers 110, Heat 107. The Heat will play the Charlotte Hornets on Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
NBA players showed up on their vote warm-ups before last night's game. The Miami midterm elections approach. NBA players switched up their normal warm-up shirts to vote shirts, encouraging fans to vote. NBA hopes to raise awareness on civic engagement and increase voter access across America.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Leanne Abutor-Bush.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.